Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the basis of a swing. What kind of things have you got to be thinking about when you're building a golf swing, and what things should you be controlling on a regular basis to make sure that your swing is repetitive? Obviously, golf swing is a massive topic, and there's enough YouTube videos out there basically giving you every part of the golf swing in great detail. But today, all I'm really looking to do is to give you a bit of a global picture of the different constituent parts of the golf swing, and then later in the series we'll go into a little bit more depth, just so you have a kind of an idea of what is actually going on. For me, I try to separate the golf swing into three different swing systems. You have the system or the foundation of your golf swing, which is basically built out of the work of your legs and your hips. Dependent on your mobility, you are going to have to work harder or less hard in order to get hip rotation in your golf swing. The hip rotation has always been kind of, I suppose, in the foreground of teaching, simply because so many amateur golfers aren't doing it. And the reason that you're not doing it is basically because intuitively it gives you the feeling that you are losing stability and you are not able to hit the golf ball as well. Obviously, the logic would say the less movement you make, the easier it is to hit the golf ball. But the human being is a strange creature, and we have wonderful abilities which will allow us to make dynamic movement and still actually hit a golf ball very precisely. And I can almost say that you have to get motion in your lower body if you want to have a chance of making any kind of dynamic, repetitive movement in your golf swing. So the first system, and for me one of the most important systems, there's only three, is basically getting your legs and your hips to turn in your golf swing. How much your legs and hips turn will have a direct effect on how much your shoulders and upper body can rotate in a golf swing. And this is the second system for me in the golf swing. So once you actually have your foundation, you can start putting the walls up, and this is for me then your shoulders and your torso and how you rotate. Obviously, there's a lot of work talking about rotation in a golf swing. One of the things to understand in a golf swing and your upper body movement is that it's a combination of a couple of movements. Sure, there is rotation, but there's also side bend. You have to be getting into a shortening of your lead side and an extension of your trail side, followed by a shortening of your trail side and an extension of your lead side. And this is part of a combination of movements that actually allow you to turn your shoulders in plane. Turning your shoulders in plane means more or less that the combination of your spine angle and this side bend allows your shoulders to be turning more or less parallel to the original shaft angle in the address position. And this is one of the most difficult things for amateur golfers to get used to, simply because it's just so unusual and not a movement that you are doing it at all at any other time or in any other sport. So there's definitely got to be helped by drills in order to get these movements working correctly in your golf swing. Once you've done that, of course, the third system is that thing which is swinging the golf club, and this is your arms and hands. And your arms and hands are going to be moving up and down, and they're going to be moving around and across your chest. Up and down to lift the club up and pull the club down and generate speed, and at the same time back and forward around your chest as your trail, arm and hand hinge and straighten through impact. And that is one of the things which is causing a great deal, or creating even better, a great deal of the speed in your golf swing and an art catapult effect, which we are using to actually generate club head speed and hit the golf ball a long way. But the arms are also, it's imperative that they help and follow the shoulders and keep the club in plane. So we're really looking at swinging the arms in the same plane as we're turning the shoulders, letting the shoulders lead, and as the shoulders lead, you're picking the arms up, hinging the trail arm, and then they are following your hips, your shoulders in the downswing, and then extending through the golf ball as you go through. So you have these three building blocks of your golf swing, and these are the things that you've got to be training almost on a daily basis to begin with as you're starting off in golf, in order to even get the functionality correct. And then eventually you want to be still kind of practicing or drilling them at least once or twice a week, even in the off season when you're not playing as much golf, just to keep these movements part of your habitual process so that your body isn't trying to fight against itself in order to make them. I like to get all of my students basically doing the three basic drills for these three movements. The first couple kind of combine. They start off with the lower body. All we're trying to do as we turn away from the target is allow the trail leg to straighten a little, the lead leg to bend a little, and that way kind of staying over the ball. At the end of the rotational movement of your hips, you will find that you won't be able to rotate any further. Your trail leg is almost straight. It's not totally straight, but it's almost straight. Your lead leg is bent a little bit. The weight or pressure is on the inside of the trail foot, on the ball of the lead foot. You're then wanting to do two things at the same time. Bend the trail knee again and turn to the target. You're not at this time trying to actually go up from the ground. On the contrary, you're wanting to bring the trail knee down to the same height as the lead knee and twist to the target. And when you can't twist any further, then you go into extension and basically straighten both legs. Now, it might well be that you will find it easier to straighten the lead leg than the trail leg. It might be that you might find it easier to straighten the trail leg than the lead leg. But in this exercise, I need you to straighten both of them. If possible, keep your eyes pointing at the ground, so watching where the ball would be more or less. That will just help you to stay centered. But it's all about basically making this both a fluid and also dynamic movement. The second system is all about your upper body. You're integrating then your upper body movement with your lower body movement, taking the address position with your arms across your chest, turning your lead shoulder down towards where the ball would be. Then you can see that my legs have done the same thing as in the first drill. I then start the downswing with the legs twisting towards the target, at the same time pulling the trail shoulder down towards the ball before going into extension up into the end of the golf swing. But again, this is not exactly what's going to happen in the golf swing, but it's more or less, and it's basically teaching you to go into side bend with your upper body whilst turning your lower body. No great worries here about straightening your legs, but trying to keep your upper body over the golf ball, staying in the spine angle. This will be very much of a challenge for a lot of people who haven't got the mobility. And this is the reason why we want to be doing it on a regular basis, to actually get this mobility so that our body, like I say, isn't fighting with itself. Turn away from the target, turn to the target, stay in the spine angle. If you can do that, then really you've got the foundation of a really, really good golf swing. The final exercise is basically for your arms and hands. You can do this both with a golf club and without a golf club. Obviously, if you're practicing this at home, probably better without one. In that case, you just put your left wrist on top of your right wrist as a right-hander, other way around if you're a left-hander. The arms are basically hanging down as if you had a golf club in your hand. And as you turn your lead shoulder down, You are lifting your arms up at the same time. The feeling is basically of the arm going back almost kind of parallel to the starting position, and you're lifting it up. At the same time, you are then folding and hinging your trail arm, which is pulling the arm back across your chest and across your shoulders. So at the top of the swing, you should have the feeling of the lead arm being not completely straight, but pretty straight and parallel to the original shaft angle. And you've got this kind of feeling here. It's almost like you were a waiter and you were able to kind of have a tray on your hand. And this is kind of an extension of your trail shoulder. If you can get yourself there, then you're in a good position. The downswing starts with the lower body, then the shoulders, and then you're releasing out the arm through the ball. Now, in a normal swing, your arms will release a little bit earlier than this, but in the drill, just have the feeling of holding that position at the top, turning, rotating the trail shoulder down, and when the trail shoulder down, then you go into extension with both your legs and also your trail arm so that you're fully extended around about chest height, and then you can even come up into the follow through into the end position. These 3 drills done on a regular basis will actually give you the mobility and also the sequence of movement that you're going to need in your golf swing. Maybe finally it's the old baseball drill for your arm and hands, really just standing upright, turning away from the target and hinging your trail wrist, turning back to the target and straightening your arms, just to give you that kind of feeling of turning away and hinging, turning through and then straightening. So you're not straightening to the ball, you're going to be straightening through the ball. And the golf swing to a certain extent is that again, turning through and extending through the golf ball. All of these things you can do now over the winter months without actually having a golf club and a golf ball. You can do it in the garden. If you haven't got room in the garden, then you can leave the club away and just do it without a golf club. But it's all about kind of drilling these movements into your body, getting the mobility, getting the dynamic movement that you need when you eventually get back on a golf course in the new year. Start it now, get that drilled into you, and the next season's going to be a belter. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not? Thank you very much to all of my patrons. If you'd like to become a patron, I shall leave a link below.